Morning world, 25th of September 2019, late morning UK time. First of a number of videos I'm doing today, most of them on Pluto. I could comment on the imminent demise of Boris Johnson in the UK. I know that both Boris Johnson and Donald Trump, both Geminis, both with Jupiter coming up to hit their sun imminently, are under threat of respectively resignation and impeachment. But I'm going to keep my powder dry on this for a couple of days because I think the next couple of days are going to be extremely eventful in Western political circles. Meantime, let's stick to some basic astrology. I'm looking at the meaning of the sun and the moon trining Pluto in a birth chart. This is the first step of finishing off my series on Pluto that I started off a few months ago. The sun is one's core, one's soul, one's heart, identity and individuality. And Pluto, especially in a good mood, is one's capacity for depth, for stamina, for psychological strength, resourcefulness, endurance and perseverance. And a trine creates a kind of social context. It's where two planets in a chart are in the same element as each other and they're talking with each other in a way that's harmonious and flowing. It's not necessarily a dynamic or projective aspect, it's more of an easy, flowing and harmonious aspect. The sun trine Pluto, the identity and the stamina working well together, gives a very good sense of self. It gives a confidence in one's own perception. Indeed, other people will see this person as being somewhat scary in their perception because they're normally very accurate and they're not willing to put up with pretense or superficiality. They're very good at working things out, and whilst they will accept that on the very rare occasions that they are wrong, that they're wrong, there is no sense of self-delusion here. They don't always agree with people around them, but they will fight to the death for the right of that person to hold their opinion, even if privately they think they're wrong. It does build in terms of a strength of identity as these people age. There's always going to be the desire to make something of oneself, and as they age, it kind of brings forms of significators or omens into their life. And as they get older, they realise that there's actually nothing to be scared of except fear itself. As with everything Plutonian, fear is when you know what you're scared of. Phobia is when you know what you're scared but not what of. And paranoia, of course, is the persecution complex. But none of these really sound strong with the sun trine Pluto. And if you reverse it and look at it with Pluto trining sun, well, the sun brings light into Pluto's underworld, and it adds heat to the ongoing alchemical transformation that the trine from Pluto is bringing into terms of identity. These are the people who will always go that extra mile or two or three to make sure they get the desired result, even if there's actually no need for them to do them. There's an element of the strident about these people. They just persevere and never ever give up. They have to walk their talk, or as we say in the UK, to do what it says on the tin. They have sun trine Pluto people have a very accurate insight into what motivates people into being the way they are, although they don't always share that perception. They understand the difference between being secretive and being private. When they do say something, normally it means something quite strong, and the word profound definitely applies here. These are the people with whom the words enduring stamina were built for. Now, when you've got the moon trine Pluto, it's a very different ball game. It's still very positive. And whilst Pluto retains its capacity for depth and insight and psychological understanding at a very deep fundamental level, when it's dealing with the moon, it's dealing with one's emotions and feelings. So any contact between the moon, between the moon and Pluto, even a harmonious one, such as a trine, has the potential for a kind of emotional extremism that simply isn't found in any other planetary combination. But because this is a trine, the opportunity for these two planets to work together is very positive. There's always going to be a concentration of emotional focus and emotional intensity. There's always going to be a deep attraction and a fascination towards the unknown and the unknowable. And they're never going to stop researching, especially if it's involving emotional research. And these are the people who are very good at dealing with young babies. They make good midwives, or very old people. They can work in palliative care. And if you look at it in terms of Pluto trining the moon, then Pluto will bring a degree of depth and transformation into the emotional situations of life, with the implicit understanding that still waters do indeed run deeply beneath the visible surface. These are the people who give the impression of always having an initial caution of dealing with external emotional situations, and there's often a degree of reticence around sharing one's feelings with other people until they know that they will be both listened to and trusted. Certainly Moon trine Pluto trine Moon people are only attracted to others who have a sense of emotional gravitas and depth about them, and they don't really care about the superficial. They don't care about appearance or financial wealth. It's more the emotional depth of a person that attracts them to someone else. The only condition really of looking at it from a Pluto trine Moon perspective is that in every contact, the need to deal with other people in an honest way and to be dealt with honestly is paramount, because once they realise they're dealing with someone who is not telling them the truth or not telling them the complete transparency of everything, then they will cut that contact, and they won't just cut it temporarily, they will cut it forever. Whereas if you look at this the other way round, instead you're looking at it not so much Pluto trine the moon, it's more the moon trine Pluto, then it's still the same, but it's a slightly different story, because the moon casts a kind of pale shadow of itself into Pluto's dark domains, and this will accentuate or illuminate a particular trait or talent that can be brought into the real world in some type of psychological way that aids a kind of deep understanding of the world, both of oneself and of the world one inhabits. There's always about the need to think things through, to feel things through before making decisions or assumptions. It's pretty difficult to really analyse how the moon and Pluto dance with each other, because they both deal with areas of the psyche that's so deep that it's unconscious. And of course we think and speak with the conscious. So you can't understand how the moon Pluto person works. You can know, sense, feel, intuit, but you can't logically, rationally understand. The moon trine Pluto, the Pluto trine moon, gives a really deep, all-encompassing emotional experience of the quality things in life. But there's also a craving here for an in-depth intimacy. They are all or nothing. So if you're with someone as a friend or a partner who has a strong moon trine Pluto, then be honest with them. Tell them the truth. Share your soul with them. Know that they are trustworthy, and they will trust you until the end of time, as long as you trust them equally back. Thing about the moon trine Pluto, it wants the best. And if it can't have the best, it will happily go without. There you go, Sun and Moon trine Pluto. More later. Bye.